Welcome po ulit to Lira in Law. Thank you again for joining me for our usual Thursday get-together between 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. So thank you for joining me. I'm your host. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simon Kabatbat of Douglas Simon Solicitors. I'm a solicitor of over 33 years post-qualification experience. So it doesn't even include my studies and indeed my training. So if you add both, if you add those essentially to my post-qualification experience, I have been involved in law for nearly, not quite, but nearly 4 decades. I know. I must say, every time I say it, I'm still surprised to have been involved in law for that long, and I enjoy it. You probably our regular friends and viewers now. You will know how passionate I am about the law and legal issues that concern you. And tonight is no different. So as usual, we'll be discussing issues, as I say, that concern you. I'll try and give you practical tips, no? And as usual nga, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon comes from your questions, no? So someone's going to have some serious bragging rights for putting in their question nga. So ang topic po natin nga ngayon, more update on this white paper, no, that was published on the 12th of May 2025. So less than a month old na nga. So yung nga pag-uusapan natin, yung titingnan nga natin. So this is the topic comes directly from you. So let me just read to you what the topic what the question is. Tapos yung pag-uusapan nga natin mamaya. So, this is from our viewer, no? Sabi niya, hi, I just want to clarify something about the new immigration changes in the UK. And then they put in brackets, white paper updates, no? Let's say I'm currently working in the UK under a health and care worker visa, and my partner is here with me as a dependent. With the recent changes in immigration rules, especially regarding salary thresholds and dependent restrictions, what would happen if I plan to renew my visa or apply for ILR, short for indefinite leave to remain, in the next year? Will my partner still be allowed to stay or apply with me? And will my current salary and role still meet the new requirements? I'm confused with the updates. You're not the only one. I'd appreciate any guidance. Thank you. So yun ang question nga natin, and that dictates our topic for tonight, which is more update on the immigration white paper, May 2025. A few more things have been published nga, no? Of course, MPs, especially the Home Office Minister, has been asked questions, relevant questions, as to when is it going to be implemented. There was the issue with the indefinite leave to remain. Any other changes nga, it is a big topic, no? So ang pag-usapan po natin ngayon is some of what's going to be implemented, but focus nga natin, the question is indefinite leave to remain. Ano ba mangyayari? No, what's being proposed, and when is it gonna come into play? No, so pag-uusapan din natin yon. Are you looking at transitional provisions? So it's a big topic, and it's an exciting one. Not good exciting. I mean, it is worrying an awful lot of people. But yung nga, importante nga din kung may mangyayari nga ito, kung may mangyayari, better to know it, and better to know it in advance. So that you can prepare for it. So it's as usual nga, it's an important topic, and you should, pagka nanonood nga kayo mamaya, no, it's probably an idea also to look at our last week's program, which also dealt with some of the immigration law changes proposed. No? So it promises to be, as usual nga, an interesting night, and I hope kung nanonood nga kayo, or you tune in later on, that you say hello. Okay, because as you know, especially mga regulars nga natin, no, that's my favorite part, which is the batian section, no. But before we get there, we're going to deal nga with this topic. So we're going to take a quick break, saglit nga lang po, and then we'll come straight back. Join me there. welcome back. Welcome back. And thank you again for joining me tonight. No, at Lira in Law, I'm discussing issues that concern you, legal issues nga that concern you. Ang pangalan ko po, Lira Simong Kabatbat. I am a solicitor of over 33 years post-qualification experience, so nearly 40 years in law. Abogado po ko. I am a practicing solicitor at Douglas Simon Solicitors. We are based in London. The end of the district line, Richmond nga. So if you want to come see us in London, in Richmond, of course you're very welcome to. Just give us a call and we'll be happy to book you nga an appointment. So without further ado, ang pag-usapan po natin nga ngayon is immigration or more update nga on the immigration white paper, which was published in May 2025. 12th of May, I think it was actually, so less than a month old. Now, this is what it looks like. What is the fuss about? Itong itsura. Okay. Now, this is published in full on our Facebook. Okay. So, kung gusto nyo makita, kung nyo basahin, you want to check out specific issues nga, by all means do go to our website, makikita nyo doon. No? The full document is published there because I'd like for you to have a look. No? It is quite long, ang kapal-kapal, and it has essentially 117 sections. They're not very long, they're not all long sections, some are longer nga than others, but it's certainly worth looking at. So it's just impossible to go through it really nga, no, to be discussing it in one night, even frankly 2 nights, no. So pag-uusapan po natin that some of the things that they've already sufficiently, if you like, looked given details on, yun pag-uusapan natin. And from my reading of it, and I have read it through, okay, and I've also looked through what's been published after that. There've been actually there's a very useful if you like analysis, no, of that, and I'll see if I can post that also on our Facebook now. So a lot of people are looking at it, analyzing it, and are giving advice as to what it could be. So unang-una po, as I say, ito po ang pag-uusapan natin. So you can see here, it's called Restoring Control Over the Immigration System. This was published by the government, and ang tawag nga dito, white paper. Now, what's white paper? I mean, apart from the fact that it is white paper, it's not that literally. So white paper is a policy document. So ibig pong sabihin, doon nila ilalagay kung ano bang balak nila, ano bang plano, no, para sa immigration. And this is the first major one from this government. Alam niyo naman, prior to until 2024, no, 2024, we had a conservative government. Ngayon, we have a labor government nga, and this is the first, if you like, major publication nga from them dealing with immigration. So, I mean, we knew it was going to come, and so it's no surprise that it's coming, but we're still lacking in details. Now, what's clear though is there are lots of changes coming, and what I've also seen from this document, and also what else has been put forward by MPs when they've been interviewed nga, yun ang titingnan po natin. So there are, if like, 7 main proposals that has enough details, you know, for us to go through. There are many more. So there's more of this to come. But there's 7 proposals na pag-uusapan nga natin, ending really with yung question nga kanina, which is mainly to do with indefinite leave to remain. And that topic is probably, for a lot of people, that's probably the most concerning and in a way most controversial. No? So that is what we're going to focus nga on today. But hindi nga lang yun, mamaya may mga questions nga. So I know we have a question about carers, no? Ano bang mangyayari nga sa kanila? We're also going to deal with that in relation to the white paper. Ano bang plano? We also have questions to do with visitor visa. So we have a wide-ranging topics, no? Tonight, as usual, no? And we'll try and get through those as much as we can. So kung meron kayong mga questions, gusto niya lang kung batiin, which I hope is the case, do, no? Let's no, don't be shy. Okay? Don't be shy. Now, without further ado, pag-usapan na nga natin, ano ba ito? No? So, pinakita ko sa inyo itong itsura. What's the fuss about? Now, this is, as I've said, a white paper. Hindi pa po ito batas. It's a policy document. Doon nga nila lalagay yung mga plano. So, there's 7 proposals we're going to be discussing today, ending with indefinite leave to remain. So, let's look at this. Ano? So, the white paper says they're going to shorten, no? Palitin nila yung list na nga ng mga trabaho dito which an employer from abroad can sponsor a worker for. Okay, so they will considerably shorten it. One way of doing it is the standard, no, of job that you can sponsor has the level was RQF level 3. Papalitan na nila yon. It will be RQF level 6. So, which means that there will be a higher standard, or there will be less jobs available for recruitment. And that also is to do, that's why we're going to also be talking about carers mamaya. So, yun ang una. Now, they're waiting to also hear from MAC, which is what the Migration Advisory Committee, to see what else. There may be some exemptions that are now RQF level 6 that are still shortage nga in the UK, in which case they may be exempt. Titingnan natin, but that's not been published yet. So yung una, also they will be ending the exemption for social care workers. Ibig po sabihin, mga carers, no, will no longer be can no longer be sponsored to come into the UK to work in the United Kingdom. Tatapusin na nila yun. So if you're looking to sponsor a carer to enter the United Kingdom, o kayo carer, no, gusto nyo pumasok, you have already a certificate of sponsorship, papasok na nga kayo dito, may balak na nga kayo, nag-usap na kayo, no, you finalized everything. For goodness sake, do it now. Okay? Do not wait. Do it now. No? Kung tinitingin yung pangalan, pinag-iisipan nyo, hurry it up. If this is something that you want to do it now. Because they've made it very clear, they will be ending that recruitment for carers nga. Now, on top of that, they will be, they're looking at, they haven't actually said so much about it, but they're looking at maybe putting a levy, on English universities' income from international student fees. So, gusto nilang tingnan, are they going to increase it? No, are they going to maybe tax it? No, but we don't know exactly. But it's likely that they're clearly also looking to target universities or educational facilities. Okay, so yun. So again, kung balak ng pasok nga kayo dito as a student, I would say you should hurry up and do it. No, they will likely also, sabi nga dito, make it harder for universities to keep their sponsorship license, so compliance may be harder nga. Yun, tignan nga nila. So they also want to see reducing the standard of length for the graduate visa. Kung estudyante nga kayo dito, you probably have heard of the graduate visa. So ibig sabihin, pagka natapos ng pag-aaralan nyo dito, it could be that you can then qualify for graduate visa. At the moment, it's 2 years. For those 2 years, pwede kayo magtrabaho, hindi nyo kailangan sponsor. You can work in the United Kingdom nga. Now, they're looking potentially to shorten that from 2 years to 18 months. Okay? That makes quite a difference. They also want to introduce stricter English language rules. For example, they may want a higher standard or additional tests nga if you're looking to apply for indefinite leave to remain. So again, kung meron kayong may balak kayong magpasok nga ng indefinite leave to remain application, natatakot nga lang kayo dun sa Life in the UK test or the B1 English language, do it now. Because the qualifications, the requirement, the conditions nga to satisfy may change, and it's not going to get lower, it will be higher. Okay? Likely, at the moment nga, gusto na makita yung B1, no? Likely that's going to be replaced with a B2 qualification, so mas mataas nga. Okay? Whether they do anything else on top, I know not. I mean, for those of you who have been studying and been trying to pass the Life in the UK test, alam nyo naman, hindi nga yung basta-basta. Okay? So, again, kung meron kayong balak, gawin nyo na din. They're also likely to introduce English language requirements for partners, for dependents of those who are already in the UK as or looking to come to the UK as dependents of those with work visas. No? Very likely they're going to introduce that. On top of that, and if you like the most controversial, sabi ko nga kanina, is increasing the standard qualifying period nga for permanent residents. So indefinite leave to remain or settlement, no, same thing in this case nga, from 5 years currently to 10 years. Dodoblehin nila. Okay? Now, there are some exemptions that they've already said, okay, kung ganitong visa nyo nga ngayon, hindi siguro kayo maapektuhan. But for most, so that the default situation is 10 years rather than 5. Okay? Now, we're going to look nga at the, ano bang ibig sabihin, no? 5 years to 10 years in conjunction with the question that we had kanina nga, no? Which is, she's here, she may apply now for indefinite leave to remain. I don't know why sabi ko she, could be he, no? Anyway, so the question was, if she applies, nandito nga siya, maapektuhan ba siya kung magbago ang batas? No? In applying for indefinite leave to remain, at saka may dependent siya dito, maapektuhan ba siya, for example? So yun ang question nga kanina. So we will tackle that absolutely. But before we do, let's have a look nga at to answer it really, to put it in context, because ang question nga niya, kailan mangyayari? To answer that, I'll give you a little bit of background because it's relevant nga to what the white paper means, because that then dictates when will the changes be implemented. So, as I've said, this white paper nga ito is not law yet. Okay, it's policy, right? Now, but, and this is the issue, most of what they want to introduce under the white paper, okay, would simply require amendment of existing immigration rules. Anong ibig sabihin nun? No? Ibig sabihin po, they do not require an act of parliament, no? Or statutory instrument. So they don't need to introduce a new law, no, to be debated, to be voted on by MPs, for example, no. Mainly, I mean, any possible change to student fees will likely require change to the primary legislation, which means kailangan nilang, an act of parliament. But for most, I would say maybe 80%, if not higher, of the changes proposed will simply require amendment of existing immigration rules. Now, that's quite important as regards speed. Yung question nga nung viewer nga natin, sabi niya, when will I be affected? No? So essentially, when will the changes nga come into play? At the moment, and I've looked at recent interviews nga, questions in Parliament to Home Office ministers. No, at the moment there's no fixed date for any of the white paper's proposals. No, so they haven't said nga to indefinite leave to remain will be changed from 5 years to 10 years in June or July. Ganon, wala pa po. No, so that's kind of good news, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to come in anytime soon. It just means we just don't know. So actually, one of the phrases, sabi nila, they will introduce it over the course of this parliament. So over the course of this government. So it can come into play between now, so bukas, ngayon, no, and 2029, when our next election will be. But they've also said that some will be introduced in the coming weeks. Not months, but sabi nila in the coming weeks. So it's likely to be introduced sometime soon. Now, let's apply that nga to the question, no? Topic po natin, star question natin, ang question niya, indefinite leave to remain settlements application, maapektuhan ba siya? Kung nandito na nga siya, ano ba mangyayari, no? Now, so will migrants have to wait 10 years for indefinite leave to remain? Now, ito, ang sabi nila, so as I've said, the white paper does not say explicitly when that will come into play. But let's look at what it actually says. No, sabi nila dito, the default will be settlement after 10 years rather than 5 years, the default situation. But some people will qualify earlier. Ang tawag nga nila earned settlement proposal. So if you are under certain categories o kaya certain things that you've done, maybe you are a nurse in the UK or a doctor nga in the UK, and your job is something that's needed. It could be that because of your qualifications, you earn settlement, faster, shorter pathway. Hindi nga lang natin alam. What we do know, because the white paper says so, is who will be affected, or rather who will not be affected by the change. So those of you who will not be affected, as in will still remain to qualify after 5 years rather than 10 years. Okay. So sinabi na nila sa white paper nga, so those partners of British citizens, so kung nandito nga kayo with a spouse visa, partner visa, and you've been granted a visa on that basis, it's still 5 years, sabi nila. So hindi yung maapektuhan. Also those who are victims of the domestic violence, for example, again, hindi sila maapektuhan. They're not looking to extend the time scale nga to 10 years, for example, if that's the case. If you have here a visa under the EU settlement scheme, then again, that's you're not going to be affected. They're not looking to extend the qualification from 5 years to 10 years. But at the moment, they've only really committed themselves to very, very few exemptions. And as I've said, one is partners, of British citizens, domestic violence victims nga, and those in the UK under the EU settlement scheme. So yun. Otherwise, they haven't really said anything else. And hindi nila din sinabi, what does it mean? How do you earn, a shorter pathway to settlement? I can only imagine that it's to do now with the suitability or character. So the more, if you like, maybe your job nga, the more needed you are, or maybe you've proven yourself as something as positive to society, ganon, that you get certain points. But hindi po natin alam at the moment, Now, Yvette Cooper, who is the Home Secretary nga natin, when asked about this on the 12th of May, said this. So let me read to you ang sabi niya. So sabi niya, we will set out further details of the earned settlement and citizenship reforms later this year, and we will consult on them. There will be plenty of opportunity for people to comment on and consider the detail, but it's important that we extend the sense of contributions and the points-based system to those reforms as well. Okay? We want the settlement rules to be amended as swiftly as possible and to apply widely. But we will consult on the detail, and it's right that we do. So it's a lot of words, but it boils down to where we don't know yet, or they're not telling us yet. So there are two ways of looking at it. Ano ba mangyayari? So yung viewer nga natin, sabi niya, nandito ako, I can apply for indefinite leave to remain nga next year, apektuhan ba ako? Great question. So either the Home Office or the government will say, okay, transitional provisions will apply. Anong ibig sabihin transitional? Kung nandito na kayo, pumasok kayo dito, of course, under the old law, it could be that the old law still applies to you. So kung nandito na kayo, nandito ka na, mag-indefinite ka na next year, then you're here on the basis of employment nga, it could be under if they apply the transitional provisions that you're safe potentially. Or they may say, so that's one way. They may say it doesn't matter. No, the law has changed. So nandito kayo, and you can apply now for indefinite leave to remain. It's a new application, and under that new application, you need to satisfy all the requirements. One of which is the 10 years, rather than say 5 years. No? So clearly, it doesn't matter. Nandito nga kayo, they will apply potentially the new law. I suspect it's one of those two. No, I can't really think of another way really of them dealing with it. It's just if it's the old law, or rather or the new law, I should say, it could be that they say, okay, it's the new law, so 10 years, but because you're already here, we give you credit, so you can make it less than 10 years, provided, for example, you can show that you have satisfied your 5 years employment, say as a nurse, you're in a job that they need in the United Kingdom, or you've excelled nga in your post, it's a kind of character reference. It could be that they do that. So if you like, it's some people as a starting point 10 years, tapos paigsing konti, because they may have they may have qualifications nga that makes them that provides them, if you like, a way of earning a shorter path to indefinite leave to remain. But at the moment, they've not given us much more than that. It's worrying for an awful lot of people. It puts me in mind really of in 2023, kung nanonood kayo in 2023, natatandaan nyo siguro, they changed the spousal rules to do with income. Now, it was 18,600, tapos sabi nila, tataasan namin, and maybe up to 38,700. And there was panic. Sabi ng mga tao, well, no, from 18,600 to 38,700, imposible, more than double. In the end, they staggered it. So ngayon, it's 29,000 pounds. But I'm getting the same vibe, which is a worry, because lack of details mean mga tao, clients, and frankly, lawyers like me, you're kind of you're scrambling for details. So you're looking at anything that is said, anything that's broadcast, any kind of analysis. And sometimes you can just kind of go around and around in circles because you're worried. You want to anticipate the changes. Yeah. So it's I do hope they published as details as soon as possible. I mean, to say they're gonna consult, sure. I mean, that's it's important to consult, but we have to remember, these are a lot of this. What we discussed kanina, apart from the levy on student fees, do not require a change in primary legislation. So, ibig sabihin, they can change it from one day to the next. Now, what comes out of this? Ang payo ko po, and I always try and be practical pagka nag-uusap nga tayo. Payo ko po, kung meron kayong balak, gawin nyo na. Do not wait. What sometimes happens is, mga kliyente ko especially, alam ko mahirap yung life in the UK. It requires quite a lot of studying, and if you're like me, tumatanda na nga tayo, it's not really something. I mean, I don't take exams for the fun of it. I never really took exams for the fun of it, but it becomes harder. Hindi ka nasanay, It's not that every year you have an exam. It's also you need to get back into it. And also, they're not easy questions. So sometimes it puts people off. Pero kung ako kayo, double your efforts. You must do this now. Because not to do it now may mean na maabutan kayo ng problema. And you don't want that, no? You really, really don't want that because it can be, well, it could mean that rather than getting indefinite leave to remain, you have another 5 years to go. And that's truly the last thing that you would want. It's not never mind the cost of it also, you know? Because you're then looking at potentially making an extra 2 applications in between. You know? Of course, you don't want that. And if you have plans, so sabihin natin, nandito kayo, skilled worker nga kayo. Tapos, pagka may indefinite na kayong plano nyo, gusto nyo mag-negosyo. I mean, tayo mga Pinoy, we're very we're a country of entrepreneurs, no? So it's we like, you know, and we thrive on negosyo, no? So it's kung yun ang balak nyo, then as soon as you're able to apply for indefinite leave to remain, ang payo ko po, do it. No? And on top of that, pagka indefinite na kayo, of course, as soon as you become indefinite, if you have plans to stay in the United Kingdom on more permanent basis nga, and you want to become British, kailangan nyo muna yung indefinite before making an application for naturalization that then leads to a British passport. No? And again, that has some other, you know, serious implications. So kung meron kayong pamilya nga dito o dito, meron kayong mga anak nga dito o meron kayong balak na magkapamilya nga dito. So it is something that can impact, no? Hindi nga lang yung future nyo, but future ng pamilya nyo. So kung ako kayo, if you're thinking either coming into the UK o kaya making an application for indefinite leave to remain, especially that po, kung ako kayo, do it. Double your efforts. Do not, don't say, well, no, maybe I'll go on, I don't want to take my holiday now to study. You should truly do it. Okay. Now, I hope I didn't worry you too much, but if I did, I won't apologize for it because it is worrying. No? Again, I say to you, kung pwede nyo gawin nyo na. Right? Now, it's like, from that, we're going to go to my favorite section nga, which is the batian. No? Now, let me just see. Hopefully, may mga tambong mabati sa akin, no? At maybe you got fed up. But it's not great, you know. It's not great news, but better to know the news. Oh, outcast. Good evening to all. Good evening po. How are you? I hope you're inside. Ang lamig nga ngayon, no? It's I think we had summer a week, 2 weeks ago. Tapos, no, ayaw ko nang nangyari. Miss Paner, Marian Galicia Paner. Hello po, attorney. At sa lahat, happy Thursday po. Magandang gabi sa ating lahat. Magandang gabi po. Happy Huwebes, no? Happy Huwebes. Magandang Huwebes. So, yun. Ma'am Cora, we like Ma'am Cora. We love Ma'am Cora. Masaya't mapagpalang gabi. She's such a poet, Ma'am Cora, no? Mapagpalang gabi. Our dear attorney Lira sa niya at lahat. Salamat po for more updates on immigration changes. Tingnan nyo, she really is watching 2025. Yes, attorney, another interesting night indeed. Salamat po, Ma'am Cora. Ma'am Cora is lovely. No, she really is, Ma'am Cora Carsola. She's lovely. She's a lovely lady. Oh, Egay the great guy from London. Rainy Thursday to Attorney Lira and to the viewers. I mean, worked in Canary Wharf today. Oh, sorry about the train ride there, no? And taking care of Justin. He's such a committed dad, no? It's still good news, Attorney Lira. I'm still top send ambassadors. A money remittance to Pilipinas. Bonus of £15 for first-time user. Looking forward to lots of learning again and to Attorney Lira's lovely voice. Egay, the great guy. He's so modest. Sabi nga, he signs off with Egay, the guy, but he's Egay, the great guy. Very talented chap. Very bright too. No? Miss Rafael. Another lady we love. And she's feeling good because she's all in caps. Hello, good evening, Attorney Lira, and happy Thursday, everyone, sabi niya, no? Oh, happy Thursday, Miss Rafael. Hopefully you well, no? Hopefully nasa loob ka. Then napakalamig nga ngayon, no? Napakalamig. I'm not really sure what happened to winter. I was gonna say winter. Freudian slip. Summer. I don't know what happened to the summer. Natalia de Guzman. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to you, sabi niya. No? Good evening po. How are you? I hope that you are inside, warm, maybe with a cup of tea. Kumain na ba kayo? I have not eaten yet. On a Thursday, then of course, no, we're late, no, 7:30 to 8:30. And ang opisina namin, actually, we're open until 7 o'clock. So between 7 o'clock and 7:30, I need to get ready really, really quickly, no? So pauwi ako. And then and then of course you have me, no? I'm with you for the show. So no time to eat. Having said that, I had cakes earlier on. Well, I always have cakes, so that's nothing new. No, nothing new. I shouldn't really have so many cakes, but I like it. No, I like cakes. It makes me happy. Now, okay, so let me just, alam ko marami pa tayong mga questions, so I should not go on too much, no? But kung meron kayong mga gusto nyo kong kamustahin, don't be shy. Post your greetings to me. Now, ito question nga natin. Dependent visa holder po ako. Nagtatrabaho bilang full-time carer ng 32 hours per week. Pero, madalas po ako mag-overtime. Umaabot ng pasok ko sa 70 to 80 hours. Wow! Bawat linggo. Wow! That means you're working like 10 hours at least each day. Huh? Wow. Masipag ka, no? Isang care home lang po ang pinapasukan ko at buo naman ang pag-tax deductions ko. So, ibig sabihin, kung ano mang overtime, may tax naman, no? Umaabot tong 5 to 700 kada sahod, no? I'm not surprised because you're working every hour, every hour God sends, as they say. Maapektuhan po ba ang application ko for ILR, indefinite leave to remain? Sabi po kasi ng kaibigan ko, kapag nalaman daw ng HMRC is the Inland Revenue tax people basically in the UK, ang sobrang overtime baka raw, kailangan kong magbayad ng malaking halaga. Totoo po ba to? No. So, may tax ka na. So, ang nangyayari, if you are on what's called a PAYE scheme, that you're an employee, so you're pay as you earn, ibig sabihin, tsaka isa lang naman ang employer mo, no? So, sobrang oras mo. So, ang mangyayari nga, at the end of the week, kung weekly sahod mo, ito total nga nila. So, kung ang income mo, sabihin natin, 700 pounds, sabi mo dito, 500 to 700 pounds, depending on your overtime nga. Ikakaltas naman nila doon yung tax mo. And then on top of that, as you know, because you've seen your payslip, I'm sure, I hope, no, is your NI contributions, and on top of that, they also need, that employer nga sila, they should also make their NI, their contribution towards your NI. Pero makikita mo doon yung tax. So basically, you're already getting taxed. No? So if you're paying tax properly, kinakaltas nga nila because you're on a PAYE scheme, then what further tax do they mean? So it could be, yung kaibigan mo, it could be nakala niya, ang ibig niya sabihin kung meron kang trabaho nga ngayon, dito ka, tapos meron ka pang trabaho iba, putting aside the issue of whether you can, meron ka pang ibang trabaho iba, for that employment, maybe you're self-employed, then if you are earning additionally for that, you have to pay tax on a self-employed basis. So it could be that when you put together yung income mo na ngayon, tapos yung dagdag na income mo, it could be then that you have additional tax to pay. But in your case, isa lang trabaho mo, overtime ka nga lang, lagi, kinakaltas naman nila, weekly or buwan-buwan, ang tax mo, I can't really see that there's something additional to pay. And by the way, kahit nga full-time carer ka nga dito, skilled worker route ka nga dito, overtime, of course, is permissible. You don't need to change and get a new course or get permission to do overtime. It's permissible. So if you want to work and you're okay to work, 70 hours, 80 hours per week, does not breach your immigration condition. go ahead. They can really do. No, naintindihan ko na you probably very much needed to work 70, 80 hours, no? I act for a lot of carers, and yeah, that's 50 hours is actually not unusual. Um, and even 60, 70 hours is not unusual for carers. Kailangan eh. So it's very disappointing that the government has decided nga, to stop recruitment of carers from abroad. Tignan natin. I mean, it could come back, but at the moment, according to the white paper, they're not going to recruit. They're not going to allow carers to be recruited from abroad anymore. Now, tingnan natin, may tayong mga questions. Tingnan ko. Okay. So ito, my visa is valid for 1 year. Sabi niya, for example, from 15 August this year until 15 August next year. No? So questions niya. So number 1, do I need to leave the UK after 6 months and then return again to use the remaining validity of the visa? Tapos, second question niya, I already stayed in the UK from January to April. Does that mean I'm only allowed to stay 2 more months this year, since I read that the maximum allowed is 180 days per 12-month period? Thank you in advance for your help. I like this question because it's one that is probably the source of, probably the most common source of confusion in all immigration, actually. And even lawyers can get this wrong. Okay? So ang pinag-uusapan natin, so unang-una, this is ang question nga niya, it's to do with visit visas. Okay? She doesn't actually say so, but it is that from the information. So 12-month visit visa ang binigay sa kanya. 12-month visit visa does not mean you can stay in the United Kingdom dire-diretso 12 months. It just means that it's valid for 12 months. Pwede mong gamitin from the time it started to the time it's gonna expire. So, sabi mo nga dito, 15 August hanggang 15 August 2025 hanggang 15 August 2026. Let's look at today, no? Anong paitsa natin ngayon? Today's the 5th, no? 5th? Yeah, 5 June. 5 June tayo. So, sabihin natin nagpasok yung application for visit visa. Nagpasok in-apply nyo 12 months. Binigyan kayo 12 months. No? So, 12-month visa, effective from today. Today is the 5th of June. So, ibig sabihin, 5 June 2025 hanggang 5 June 2026. Isang taon. Now, unang-una, hindi ibig sabihin na pwede kayong tumira dito sa UK for 12 months, dire-diretso. Now, however, it doesn't also mean that it's you count nga 12 months. So you count the days until you for totaling to 180 days. That's not how it works, and this is truly something that confuses a lot of people. I'm not really sure how it started, this confusion nga. It's 6 months nga. So kung 12-month visit visa kayo and it starts nga today, pasok kayo, sabihin natin nga ngayon, right? You have 180 days from the date of entry. So you can't stay in the UK for more than 180 days, otherwise you're in breach. So sabihin natin, visa nyo nag-umpisa ngayon, pumasok kayo ngayon. So you have 6 months, quite properly, to stay in the United Kingdom, 180 days. So June tayo 5, that would take you to, would that be December, November, June, July, August, October, November, December, nandito kayo. You're perfectly entitled to stay 180 days. No more than that. Now, but in December 2025, you still have another 6 months because, of course, visa nyo nga, you were granted 12 months. You need to leave the country. Before exceeding so as not to exceed the 180 days. But it does not mean na hindi na kayo makabalik dito. So sabihin natin December, Christmas, before Christmas you leave the United Kingdom, gusto mong bumalik dito in the new year. You can do that. You have then another 180 days when you enter the United Kingdom in January. Now, but beware. Okay? it could be na masita kayo, because what they don't want is that you're using your visit visa nga as a kind of backdoor to enter and remain in the United Kingdom. They don't like that. And it could be that when you enter the second time around, because you were just in the United Kingdom, you may well be questioned. They may say, well, anong ginagawa niyo? Bakit nandito kayo uli? You know? But at the moment, but if you have a 12-month visit visa nga, you're allowed to do that. Okay? But as I say, they become quite concerned if you are if you away only for short time, tapos balik nga kayo dito, because they don't. I mean, they may get suspicious, and they may think nga that it's something you're using the visit visa as a backdoor to remain in the UK. So ingat nga kayo. No? But yeah, no, you're perfectly entitled. You don't need to count nga like that, no? So kung gusto mo pumasok nga ngayon, it's 180 days per entry into the UK until your visa expires. Okay, so I like that question though, because it's one that people, even lawyers, I've heard people say, it's 100, it's 180 days, and they make such complex calculations of how you achieve the 180 days. Anyway, so I'm sure meron pa tayong mga question eh. So that's okay. So hello, I have a question regarding the new immigration rules. Not surprised. I'm planning to apply for skilled worker visa as a carer, and my employer is ready to sponsor me. I also want to bring my spouse and child with me as dependents. With the new changes, I heard there are restrictions on dependents and higher salary thresholds. In this situation, will I still be allowed to bring my family? And will my current job, below 29,000, still qualify under the new rules? Just trying to understand how this could affect our plans before proceeding. Thank you for any insights. Ooh, I have some bad news. Now, tingnan muna natin yung sweldo, okay? So, sabi mo dito, sweldo mo 29,000 pounds. Now, if you qualify for what's called the standard rate, because you got your certificate of sponsorship after the 4th of April 2024, so that was last year, 2024. I forgot our year then you need to look at what's called the standard rate for your minimum income. The standard rate at the moment for care workers, because at the moment you can still come into the United Kingdom, you can still be sponsored until the white paper change come into play. So under you are, as you know, your code 6135, because you are care workers and home carers. At the moment, the standard rate is equivalent to £15.88 per hour on the traditional 37.5 working week. That is equivalent to £30,960. So kapos ka, but not very much, but kapos ka pa rin. So below 29 ang proposal ng sweldo mo. Okay, we're back. I'm so sorry. Ang problema often is if you're broadcasting live, you can always tell if you're broadcasting live because you have issues like this. Suddenly the internet goes down. Anyway, my apologies po. Now let's continue. I was itong question na yung question nga natin. I was just giving, unfortunately, one of our viewers nga the bad news. The question nga niya, balak niyang pumasok dito sa career. Ang income nga niya 29,000, less actually, sabi niya dito. Gusto niyang dalhin yung asawa niya, yung dependents niya, asawa niya at anak nga niya dito. Pwede pa ba? No? So unang-una nga, bad news in relation to income, you need to earn more, no? Because at the moment, as at the 4th of April 2024, your income, at sabi nga nila dito, should be the standard rate, and the standard rate at the moment is £30,960. If you got your costs, before the 4th of April 2024, then you potentially on the lower rate, which is £25,000. But you need to earn more, yun ang una. But that may not be an issue, no? Kung kailangan ka nga dito, the difference at the moment between 29,000 and 30,960 is not massive. So it could be na sabihin nila, okay, we'll pay you more. More bad news, though, is dependents. So dependents of cares are no longer able to join them. That it was implemented by the previous government, no, and that came into play on the 11th of March 2024. Okay, so unfortunately, you can't bring them into the United Kingdom anymore. Now, of course, if you enter the UK as a carer nga, nandito ka for 5 years, and unless they change, kung hindi nila palitan nga from 5 years to 10 years, which is probably unlikely, I think it will be 10 years for indefinite leave to remain, then potentially you can make an application in you after 5 years, pagka indefinite ka na, or whenever that would be, for the family to join you in the UK. Now, of course, kung meron ka mga bata, pagka 18 na sila, they cease to become considered as your dependents, so that may present a problem. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of good news for you. But again, look, that's the thing with changes in the law, or any changes. It's better to know it and prepare for it nga, rather than not know it. Okay? So it's not great news, but it is what it is, as someone in the office always says to me. It is what it is. We have to just get on with it, plow on, but I hope that was of help to you. Now, I think that's probably our questions for the moment. Right now, Sitam, thank you very much nga for joining me, and my apologies for the for the mishap, no? I tingnan ko nga lang to. Let me just have a look. That is, we have online the questions pa rin. Question pa rin. No, that's the one I dealt with. I just want to make sure that I've dealt with all your questions nga. And hopefully I'm still on air, because I've had all sorts of issues with my internet connection. Sorry po. I think maybe umuulan. Of course, it's not the case, but you never know nga. You never know. So, salamat po for joining me, and I hope I've not missed out on anyone saying hello. If I have, it's not nga, hindi ko yung ini-snub, ha? It's just because I'm having issues with my internet. So, again, salamat po for joining me. Shout out sa inyong lahat. And thank you also to the Facebook groups that allow us to post our contents nga on their pages nga. Remember, no, kung meron kayong mga questions, o kaya meron kayong mga gusto niyo kong batiin, no, which I hope will be the case, but if kung meron kayong mga questions nga, remember to send it to us by next Wednesday, and I'll try and deal with it. As I say, you will gain some serious bragging rights by taking part, no? Salamat po. And again, my apologies for this slight glitch kanina nga, and I think we continue to have this glitch because I can't see any other any other viewers who are saying hello. So apologies po if I've not said hello back to you specifically. But so a global hello to everyone nga. So until next week po, no? Thank you again for joining me. So until next week, I hope you'll be able to join me then. Our usual Thursday get together at Lira and Law, same time, same place. Good night.